Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Priti Dasi from Charlotte. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Priti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandvat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Arvind Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvindaksha Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharajas, and all glories to the assembled devotees. This is Tiffany in Pennsylvania. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna, Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna, Yashumati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day in early morning and also mid-morning. Thank you so much for giving your association and chanting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very nice, Nrsi Bhagwan.
Thank you, Mataji. Devon.
Nrsi.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru and Gauranga. Mataji, this is Megha from Naperville.
Hare Krishna, Megha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Assembled Devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, and all glories to assembled devotees. This is Radha from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Radha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Dear Govind Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi from Lincoln.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. This is Radharani Devidasi from Baltimore. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Radharani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gandharvika Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Guru Maharaj. This is Kiran Goyal from Baltimore. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Kiran Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. This is Kamudaki Dasi from Baltimore. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, and all glories to all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Komadiki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your association. Hare Krishna. Nice to see you, Mataji. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Varsha from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Varsha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi from Nandi.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Tarun Gauranga Prabhu to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 14th chapter, verse number 1. Today we are starting new chapter. Before I hand over the call to Prabhuji, I would like to hand over the call to Tiffany Mataji for give brief introduction on Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. His Grace Tarun Gauranga Prabhu was initiated as a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj in 2014. Prabhuji earned a Master of Sciences degree in botany from Mumbai University in 2008. He worked as a lecturer for 3 years before joining ISKCON Chaupati. Since then, Prabhuji has been serving full-time at the temple in the book distribution department, which has allowed him to become deeply familiar with Srila Prabhupada's books and teachings. Tarun Gauranga Prabhu is a motivational speaker who teaches Bhagavad Gita so we all can have a peaceful mind to live in an unpeaceful world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for your valuable time and association this morning. Please take over the call. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you are muted, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone for the Bhagavatam class from 5th canto. This is chapter number 14 and today is the text number 1. So, read the translation and purport.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah.
Your voice is vibrating, you know. Maybe keep the mic little
far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it better now?
Prabhuji, the mic that you are using, can you put little far? Maybe, you know, that helps.
Yeah. A minute, hold on. Is it better now? Is it better?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. When King Parikshit asked Sukadeva Goswami about the direct meaning of the material forest, Sukadeva Goswami replied as follows. My dear king, a man belonging to the mercantile community, Vanik, is always interested in earning money. Sometimes he enters the forest to acquire some cheap commodities like wood and earth and sell them in the city at good prices. Similarly, the conditioned soul, being greedy, enters this material world for some material profit. Gradually, he enters the deepest part of the forest, not really knowing how to get out. Having entered the material world, the pure soul becomes conditioned by the material atmosphere, which is created by the external energy under the control of Lord Vishnu. Thus, the living entity comes under the control of the external energy in Daivi Maya. Living independently and bewildered in the forest, it does not attain the association of devotees who are always engaged in the service of the Lord. Once in the bodily conception, he gets different types of bodies, one after the other, under the influence of material energy, and impelled by the modes of material nature, Sattva-guna, Raja-guna and Tamo-guna. In this way, the conditioned soul goes sometimes to the heavenly planets, sometimes to the earthly planets, and sometimes to the lower planets and lower species. Thus, it suffers continuously due to different types of bodies. These sufferings and pains are sometimes mixed. Sometimes they are very severe, and sometimes they are not. These bodily conditions are acquired due to the conditioned soul's mental speculation. He uses his mind and 5 senses to acquire knowledge, and this bring about the different bodies and different conditions. Using the senses under the control of the external energy Maya, the living entity suffers the miserable conditions of material existence. He is actually searching for relief, but he is generally baffled, although sometimes he is relieved after great difficulty. Struggling for existence in this way, he cannot get the shelter of pure devotees who are like bumblebees, engaged in loving service at the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The most important information in this verse is Hari Guru Charan Arvinda Madhugara Anupadamim. In this material world, The conditioned souls are baffled by their activities, and sometimes they are relieved after great difficulty. On the whole, the conditioned soul is never happy. He simply struggles for existence. Actually, his only business is to accept the spiritual master, the Guru, and through him he must accept the lotus feet of the Lord. Lotus feet or the Lord. This is explained by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai, Bhakti Lata Bij. People struggling for existence in the forest or cities of the material world are not actually enjoying life. They are simply suffering different pains and pleasures. Generally, pains that are always inauspicious. They try to gain release from these pains, but they cannot due to ignorance. For them, it is stated in the Vedas, Tad Vijnanartham Sagruyam eva vigachet. When the living entity is lost in the forest of the material world, in the struggle for existence, his first business is to find a bona fide Guru who is always engaged at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. After all, if he is at all eager to be relieved of the struggle for existence, he must find a bona fide Guru and take instructions at his lotus feet. In this way, he can get out of the struggle. Since the material world is compared herein to a forest, it may be argued that in the Kali Yuga, modern civilization is mainly situated in the cities. A great city, however, is like a great forest. Actually, city is more dangerous than life in the forest. If one enters an unknown city without friend or shelter, living in that city is more difficult than living in a forest. There are many big cities all over the surface of the globe, and wherever one looks, he sees the struggle for existence going on 24 hours a day. People rush about in cars going 70 and 80 miles an hour, constantly coming and going, and this sets the scene for the great struggle for existence. One has to rise early in the morning and travel in that car at breakneck speed. There is always the danger of an accident, and one has to take great care. In his automobile, the living entity is full of anxieties, and his struggle is not at all auspicious. Apart from human beings, other species like cats and dogs are also struggling very hard day and night for existence. Thus, the struggle for existence continues, and the conditioned soul changes from one position to another. For a while, he is child, but he has to become boy. From a boy, he has to change into a youth, and from youth to manhood and old age. Finally, when the body is no longer workable, he has to accept a new body in a different species. Giving up the body is called death, and accepting another body is called birth. The human form is an opportunity to take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, and through him, the Supreme Lord. This Krishna consciousness movement has been started to give an opportunity to all the members of human society who are misled by foolish leaders. No one can get out of this struggle for existence, which is full of miseries, without accepting a pure devotee of the Lord. The material attempt changes from one position to another, and no one actually gains relief from the struggle for existence. The only resort is the lotus feet of the bona fide spiritual master, and through him, the lotus feet of the Lord. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuda Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagarajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhuva Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So very long purport, long translation as well, but it summarizes our complete existence in the material world, how the living entity is suffering, and how he is supposed to take the shelter of spiritual master, as we sing in the daily Mangalarti prayers, that this world is actually it's like a blazing forest fire, and this forest fire cannot be overcome just by small 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets of water. That's what we try sometimes to mitigate our miseries through some material efforts. It is only by the grace of spiritual master, when the spiritual master bestows his mercy, then only this misery can be mitigated. Such is the glory of the pure devotees of the Lord, who travel on the surface of the globe to rescue the conditioned souls from the grip of Maya. Such one devotee, in the 10th canto, there is a beautiful narration of Uddhavji visiting the Vrindavan. This is the month of Kartik. Many devotees, they go to the Vrindavan for intensifying their bhajan. Of course, we can intensify our bhajan wherever we are and create the Vrindavan atmosphere. But also wherever possible, we can go to the Vrindavan. So when Lord Krishna, he was in Mathura for almost 11 years. He stayed in the Vrindavan, and he gave prema bhakti to all Brajavasis. But after that, Krishna has to reciprocate with other devotees also, those who are in Dwarka and Mathura, and later in Dwarka and other parts of the world. So he is out of the Vrindavan, and Brajavasis, they were remembering Krishna. So Lord Krishna, he sends Uddhavji with some message for the Brajavasis. And our Uddhav Prabhu, as you many times in purport Prabhupada writes Uddhav Prabhu, he goes to the Vrindavan Yatra in the month of, I don't know which month was that, but this is the month of Kartik going on. So Uddhavji goes to the Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, this is 10th canto 43rd chapter. There in the Vrindavan, he goes on the chariot, the same chariot on which Akrura came to Krishna and Balaram to Mathura city. Same chariot he comes. And Brajavasis, they see that the same chariot has again appeared on the outskirts of Vrindavan, they see. Then as the Uddhava comes inside the city, village, not city, sorry, this is village, Vrindavan, a coward village. Then after he comes, Nanda Baba and Yashoda Mai, they seat him comfortably. And then after some time, they inquire with Uddhavji. They ask that, does Krishna remember us? Does he remember his mother and his friends and well-wishers? Does he remember the coward girls and coward boys? Does he remember the village of the Vraja, of which he was the master? And does he remember the cows? Vrindavan forest, Yamuna, and Govardhan hill. And then they say that, will Lord Krishna ever return back to Vrindavan to be with his family members? If he ever does, we may then glance upon his beautiful face with its beautiful eyes, nose and smile. Brajavasis, they already experienced the mercy and beauty of Krishna. And Uddhavji, when he was in Vrindavan, that time he could experience and understand what is the highest summit of devotion to Krishna. This is one of the purpose for which Krishna sent Uddhavji to Vrindavan, along with pacifying his relatives and Gopas and Gopis. But this was another purpose. Then Brajavasis, they start narrating Krishna's pastimes. Then how he saved them from the forest fire, wind, rain, the Aristasur bull, the Kaliya serpent. All those things they are remembering. And then they say that here in Vrindavan, Krishna and Balaram easily destroyed demons like Pralamba, Dhenuka, Arista, Pranavat, Baka, who had themselves defeated both demigods and other demons. Sukadeva Goswami, while he is narrating everything, he says that thus intensely remembering Krishna again and again, Nanda Maharaj's mind completely attached to the lotus feet of the Lord felt extreme anxiety. This is what happens when we remember, we can relate in this world when we remember our relatives, our loved ones, if they are away from us for a long time, then when we remember, we feel some kind of anxiety. Now, this may be a material anxiety, but what Brajavasis felt was actually love of God. And then Nanda Maharaj felt silent, overcome by the strength of his love. And Yashoda Mai, after hearing everything what Nanda Baba and other Brajavasis they are narrating, actually tears come out of her eyes and milk starts flowing from her breast. Generally, if the child is grown up, he has gone to the age of 20, 25, 30. A mother may not, milk may not flow from her breast. But in Bhagavatam, many times we find this in case of Devaki also, and then here Yashoda Mai also. This love is such intense love that she is not considering Krishna. Now Krishna has grown up now. And generally milk will generate in mother's breast for the babies when baby is small. But Krishna has grown up. But still, Yashoda Mai, she is considering Krishna as small baby. And in affection and in that love, that milk is flowing from her breast. Like that, Uddhavji, he meets Brajavasis and then he pacifies them and he says that Krishna will return soon. Don't worry. He's going to come very soon. And after that, he may, in the same canto, this is 43rd chapter. The 44th chapter is the Bhramar Git, the song of the bumblebees, where Uddhavji gets to experience the ecstatic love of the gopis for Krishna. After meeting all the elderly members and other cowherd friends of Krishna, Uddhavji goes to meet gopis. And Sukadeva Goswami narrates that when all the gopis they saw, they see Uddhavji, they see the same chariot on which Akrura came. They start discussing among themselves. Last time this chariot was there and Akrura came, he took away Krishna from us to kill Kamsa. Now this time, for what purpose he has come? They are just discussing among themselves. And then, bowing their heads in humility, they ask Uddhavji same questions as the other Brajavasis they asked to Uddhavji, that does Krishna remember us? Will he return back? And does he remember the time he spent with us? Like that they keep asking him. And in intense separation from Krishna, sometimes when we love someone, we may glorify person both positively and negatively. This is another way to glorify. The gopis, they say, they are giving different small examples to indicate their love for Krishna, how much they love Krishna. They say that we see nothing else he might consider worth remembering in this cow pastures of Raja. Now he has gone to the city. Now city is very opulent, and he's in the royal palace. How you will remember this cowherd village, these cowherd girls and cowherd boys and this simple village? You will not remember. Then they give some examples. They say, indeed, the bonds of affection for one's family members are difficult to break even for a sage. Now it is difficult for them. What to speak of sage? They are giving the example of sage, that even if somebody has renounced and he has become a mendicant, for him it is difficult to cut the knot of his family affection or whatever material relations he had before. It's difficult for him. But indirectly they are saying, actually it is very difficult for us to forget about Krishna. We cannot forget. Then they give a series of 4 or 5 examples. They say that just like the friendship in this world, they say that the friendship shown towards others in this world, those who are not family members, is motivated by personal interest. And thus it is a pretense that lasts only until one's purpose is fulfilled. Such friendship is just like the interest men take in woman or bees in the flower. Bees, they just like they travel from one flower to other, they suck the nectar, then they go to the next flower. They have nothing to do with the flower. I mean, their purpose is just to get the nectar, that's it. So gopis are saying that Krishna is like that friend. He had our company, he enjoyed the Vrindavan, and now he has gone to other place to get a better enjoyment. Then the gopis, they give another example of, they say, prostitutes, they abandon a penniless man. Likewise, subjects, they abandon the incompetent king. Students, after their education is done, they abandon their teacher. They don't go back to the teacher again. This is our experience. I mean, in our college days, school days, I mean, we might be remembering some teachers and we might be going to them sometime, but at least out of so many teachers I had in my childhood, in college days, I think only one teacher I remember, with whom I, sometime call and, ask his well-being. But otherwise, there is no connection at all. Once we got, whatever we wanted from that person, then we forget about that. And gopis give another example. Priests, once the yajman, he pays whatever remuneration he has to pay, then priests, they go away. They give another example. Birds, they abandon tree when its fruits are gone. As long as the fruits are there on the tree, birds will be there. But once the season, is over, there are no more fruits, then birds, they abandon the tree. And the guest also abandon the house after eating. After prasadam is over, nobody looks back. Who will wash the, utensils? Who will clean the kitchen? They go away. Like that, then they say finally that the lover, the woman he has enjoyed, even though she remains attached to him, the lover abandons the man. So like that, they are giving this example to indicate that although these are the cases where people abandon them. I mean, the subject, they abandon the king, the student, they abandon the teacher, priest, they abandon the yajman, and like that. Similarly, Krishna also abandoned us, but we are not able to abandon Krishna. Although he may abandon us. Actually, what has happened is we have abandoned Krishna, and Krishna is indirectly indicating us that although you may have abandoned me, but I cannot abandon you. Why? Because you are my son. You are my beloved, dear devotee. Now we may not be devotee right now, full-fledged devotee, but Jivira Sarupai Krishna and Nityadas, we are constitutionally servant of Krishna. So in that line, Krishna is saying that you are always with me, and even if you go away, I cannot give you up. Like that, gopis are narrating their extreme love for Krishna, and then after that, these gopis, they start actually crying. They forget that Uddhavji is such a person is a minister of Krishna's royal palace in Dwarka, Mathura. He has come here. In front of him, forgetting all the shame, they start crying, remembering Krishna. And one more, great gopi, that is actually Radharani. She is seeing one bumblebee, which is hovering around her feet. And in her ecstatic love for Krishna, that chapter is entitled Bhramar Geet. She says that to that honeybee she is addressing, "Oh honeybee, O friend of the cheater, don't touch my feet with your whisker. Let Krishna be with the woman of Mathura. Krishna suddenly abandon us, just as you might quickly abandon some flowers. I mean, you go to some flower, take the nectar, and then go to the next flower. You don't look back. Something like that." And she's saying that, then how it is then that goddesses Padma willingly serves his lotus feet? Alas, the answer must certainly be that her mind has been stolen away by his deceitful words. Like that, she's narrating, different. Showing her different emotions. And in one part, she is saying that, "Keep your head off my feet. I know what you are doing. You expertly learned diplomacy from Mukunda, and now you have come as his messenger with flattering words. You want to console us. You want to tell that Krishna will come, don't worry. But we know he's not going to come back." And like that, they give the example of Radharani then gives the example of 4 or 5 examples she gives from the Bhagavat. She gives the example of Bali in the Ramayana. She says that Krishna is so cruel that he killed Bali from behind the trees. What was his fault? And then she used the example of Surpanaka also. Surpanaka came with a marriage proposal, and what did he do with her? He disfigured her. He removed her ear and nose. He's such a cruel person that some woman has approached him for marriage, and he giving her such kind of treatment. And actually, if we see, and Krishna is so reciprocal. Although Surpanaka came with such desires, and after that she went to the Ravana and she narrated that there is one beautiful lady Sita. And here Radharani says that because he was conquered by a woman, he says that Lord Ram, at that time Lord Ram, now he is as Krishna, he was conquered by another woman, that is Sita. Therefore, he disfigured another woman who came to him with lusty desires. Indirectly, she is indicating that now he has got other damsels of other beautiful ladies of Mathura, Dwarka. So therefore, he is forgetting us. And I was just discussing with another devotee. This particular section, if we see that these devotees, Radharani or gopis, they knew who is Krishna. Like see, she is quoting from Ramayana. Now she will quote from Bhagavad Purana also. She knew that Krishna, the all incarnations, who is Krishna, but their love for Krishna is so great that even though they know that he is supreme personality of Godhead, but their madhurya is completely conquering their Aishwarya. And further we see, if we see in the Krishna's reciprocation on other side with Surpanaka in the Ramayana, after Surpanaka goes to the Ravana and she narrates all the episode what happened with her. After that she goes to Pushkar Tirtha and performs 10,000 year underwater tapasya to please Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva comes. Lord Shiva asks, "What do you want?" She says that, "I want Ram as my husband." Then Lord Shiva says that not possible in this lifetime because Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam. He has already taken a vow to have only one wife. But next incarnation, at the end of Dwapar Yuga, you will get this opportunity. So same Surpanaka actually becomes the Kubja in the Krishna Lila time, which comes in the same 10th canto. And as this pastime is going on, just before 2-3 chapters before that, it will come 4 or 5 chapters before this. So this is Krishna's reciprocation. That although Surpanaka came with such evil motives Even Putana came with such evil motives, but Krishna's love is so great that he elevated them to such, highest position of devotional service. Like that, Radharani is quoting so many pastimes, and then she says, finally, Bali Maharaj pastime, she says that Bali, he came, he wanted to give you 3 steps of land, and you disguised, your form as a dwarf Brahmana, and even though he gave you everything, after you conquered with your 3 steps, 2 steps, entire universe, and then third step on Bali Maharaj head, even after that you, bound him with the ropes of Varun Pash, Nag Pash. Such is, Krishna is so cruel, and such is the, insensitive nature of Krishna. So how he will remember us? He's not going to remember us. He will not come back. So actually, indirectly, she is hinting and indicating that Krishna's love is so great, through all these examples. And after that, actually, the same thing happens, like what happened with the gopis and Nanda Baba and Yashoda. Radharani then actually starts crying, remembering Krishna. And then, she, there's one beautiful verse. She says, this is 10th canto, 44th chapter, 18th verse. She says, Yad anucharita leela karna piyusha viprut sakrut adana vidunata viduta dandva dharma vinashta sapadi gruha kutumba dina mrsujya dina bahava eva vihanga bhikshucharya charanti. So what Radharani, what gopis, what Nanda Baba and all coward, men's, they spoke all pastimes of Krishna. Basically Krishna Katha. Radharani says that to hear about the pastimes that Krishna regularly performs is a nectar for the ears. For those who relish just a single drop of that nectar, even once their dedication to material duality is ruined. Small attraction to Krishna Katha is a great, sign of, what do you say in the nectar of devotion, Kleshagni, actually, and Shubhada, beginning of our auspiciousness and mitigating our material miseries. Small drop of attraction for Krishna Katha. Therefore, Radharani here says that many such persons have suddenly given up their wretched homes and families after hearing Krishna Katha, and themselves become wretched, travel here to the Vrindavan to wander about like birds, begging for their living. So actually, this is happening now also, by Prabhupada's grace and through ISKCON movement. We all are getting this opportunity to drown in the nectar of Krishna Katha through Prabhupada's purports and his merciful, incorporation of ISKCON and these ISKCON communities. So this is the glory and beauty of Krishna Katha, that, it drowns us in the intense, happiness which we are all searching here. Directly, indirectly, all our needs of body and mind and intelligence, they may be at, different levels. We may think body needs some food, or mind needs some entertainment, and intelligence needs some intellectual things to analyze. But actually, everything is our innate propensity to love Krishna that is getting expressed through these different means. So therefore, actually, people most of the time don't understand that what actually we are searching in life. Everybody knows that they want happiness, and they try to fill their, belly with the food, or mind with some, rubbish of this world, but actually everyone is searching Krishna in different forms. Like that, Uddhavji, he visits the Vrindavan and he gets completely transformed. His Aishwarya gets completely, defeated in front of these Vrajavasis. And when Uddhavji is going back, that time, before that, Uddhavji says that I want to remain here in Vrindavan as Gulmalata tree. I want to, get the dust of the lotus feet of these Vrajavasis on my head, so that one day I also can become, I also can follow in their, line. And while he is going, all the Vrajavasis, they give him, different gifts for Krishna Balram and Vasudeva Devaki. So different devotees, they come, they say, take this sweet. Krishna used to like this sweet a lot. Please give him. And like that, different devotees bring different, articles. And Radharani, she brings flute and gives to Uddhavji and says that Krishna was very much fond of playing this flute, but now he has completely forgotten this flute. Please give him this flute and just remind him that we all are remembering him. Like that, Uddhavji, he completely gets transformed and he understands the highest summit of devotional ecstasy or devotional service to what we can go. Like that, this is just one small narration I gave you from the Bhagavatam 10th canto, that once we taste the nectar of devotional service, it is very difficult for us to go back to the material life. I mean, even if we may get tempted, but still Krishna's beauty, Krishna's love is so great that it will keep us in the devotional service, provided we get that small drop somehow or other. One time Jayadeva Maharaj was asked one question, that how to advance in devotional service. Then Jayadeva Maharaj told that somehow or other we should try to get taste in one of the service. There are many services. There are 9 services primarily: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archana, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Or you may take from 64 items of devotional service from nectar of devotion. In one item you try to find the taste, one of the item. And once you get taste in one item, you will automatically get taste in all other items. Just like if suppose a mother, she has a love for the baby, then she naturally has love for anything and everything that is related to the baby. Wouldn't have to separately, develop love for, the friends of the, suppose some child is there, their friends, they come home. I mean, we love our child. Along with that, we love, this child's friends also. Why? Because we love the child. So similarly, Maharaj says that once we develop love and taste in one item, then it will become easy for us to, gradually go to the Krishna's, abode day by day as we practice the devotional service. Such is the glory of devotional service. But now you may be wondering that this purport is something different. I am directing from something different. Actually, I want to connect, to what is the reality and how far we are from reality. The purport is talking about how we are suffering in this world, how we are miserable, how we are, under the 3 modes of, material nature, and we are beaten. And Krishna is there, who is coming as Guru Sadhu Shastra. And unless we take shelter of Guru and devotees, it is not possible for us to get any, smallest drop of bhakti. It is not that by our endeavor that we may chant so many rounds and we may study Bhagavatam so much throughout the day, or we may do so many services. That is all right. But to sustain devotional service for the long time, we need the mercy of the devotees and blessings of the devotees. Therefore, Narottam Das Thakur says, Chhadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistara Paye Chekeva. Without the mercy of Vaishnavas, no one has ever gone back to Godhead. Not possible. Therefore, as the purport says that we have to take shelter of the Guru and the devotees, then we may wonder that what is the problem in taking shelter of the devotees, taking shelter of the spiritual master wholeheartedly. I mean, we may say that we have taken shelter, but our taking shelter is not wholehearted. And when there is no wholehearted attempt from our side, it is half-hearted, then there is no full purification. There is purification. We may be chanting the rounds, we may be serving the deities or doing so many things, but unless there is a full-fledged surrender and 100% we are contributing from our side, will not get purified that much. So therefore, this verse, as it is saying that living in it is imagining different mental conceptions. Our problem is at the mental level. We are imagining different levels of enjoyment in this world at gross and subtle level, not understanding that this life is actually a rare opportunity, as the Prabhupada is saying in the purport, that human life is a rare opportunity for us to go back to Godhead. If we miss this, then there is every chance that we glide down to the 84 lakh species of life. Therefore, I don't know how many of you know Hindi here. Here in the Hindi Rajasthani state, there is one bhajan. Last time I was giving class here, I quoted this bhajan, beautiful bhajan. This they call it as Chetavani bhajan. Chetavani means alarming, alerting. It alarms you, alerts you. Some songs written like that to alarm you. So this bhajan says that क्या लेके आया बंदे क्या लेके जाएगा 2 दिन की जिंदगी है 2 दिन का मेला है. It is telling us about the temporality, impermanence of the material world and this life. One lecture I was hearing Maranatha Maharaj says that how many now almost 40 minutes have gone since we started this lecture. Maharaj says that 40 minutes of our life we have become dead. I mean we have died 40 minutes. Like that the time is going. Of course, now we have discussed Krishna Katha, so we may not have died, but we have developed our relationship and taste for Krishna. But otherwise, if we are not engaged in devotional service, or if our consciousness is not in the mode of serving Krishna, whatever we may be doing, we are doing our household duties or whatever. But if our consciousness is not in the mood of serving Krishna, then we are actually dying moment by moment. And there are people sometimes they complain that God has created this world, but why there is suffering in this world? So most of the time our conceptions are not perfect, right? This world is designed for some particular purpose. Actually, we always have to design, evaluate a design with the purpose. As the purpose, Prabhupada is heavily, giving all these, different quotations and that how much we are suffering in this world. So one may say we are suffering, then you say that this world is created by God, but I see so much suffering. How God is created? If God is created, then there should have been no suffering. But actually there are some places which are meant for suffering, created for suffering. And if we don't understand the purpose of this world, then we are mistaken. Just like we have a cell phone. I mean, different phones are there now. This is one phone. This is keypad phone. I mean, this is what we used to have 20, 30 years back maybe. Now you may have hi-fi smartphones with different capacities like a PC or a laptop. But if suppose I want to write one essay and I take a keypad phone, then will it solve my purpose? No. Then I may say, how stupid is the creator of this keypad phone that I cannot write an essay on this mobile. But stupid, actually you are stupid. Why? Because you don't understand for what purpose it is created. It is just created for the purpose of sending some text messages. If you want to write an essay, go to the laptop, open a desktop or have a smartphone. So if we miss for what purpose this world is meant, then we are actually mistaken. The two examples to demonstrate that. I mean, there is a design and there is suffering also. So you see the example of police station. There is a police jail, perfectly designed. All the prisoners, they are kept in particular chambers. They have their kitchen separate. They have washing room separate. Everything is perfectly arranged. But this place is meant for suffering actually. And you may say, okay, so this world is like a jail, and Krishna is jailer. So, and Krishna is giving us suffering. So you may not like this example. So there is another example like a hospital. So Krishna is like a doctor, and this world is like a hospital. This is meant for curing our, perverted mentality, perverted thought process. We are thinking that this world is meant for our enjoyment, but actually this world is not meant for our enjoyment, but actually is meant for our rectification. The two things. We have come to this world for experimentation and rectification. Experiment means what? We have come here to experiment whether I can live without Krishna and be happy without Krishna. So Krishna said, oh, you can go and find out. But we have been trying for since millennium. Millions of lives we have spent here. But we have not found any happiness here. So therefore Krishna says that better you come back to me. You have experimented enough. Now rectify your mentality by taking shelter of the spiritual master, through taking shelter of the devotees, and rectify yourself and come back to me. Otherwise, if you don't understand like this, then this world will really like, miserable, very, giving so much suffering. And then you may say there is no God. If God is there, then why he will create this world like, with so much difficulties and troubles? But it's not like that. It's like a hospital. Otherwise, the patient may say, Every day I'm getting this soup without salt and chili, and everything is so non-spicy food. I don't like this. This is so much suffering. But actually, this is the food which will cure you. So like that, this world is actually meant for our rectification of our diseased mind. Therefore, Prabhupada in many purports, in the first canto also, he says that kamasya indriya priti labho jivita yavata jivasya tattva jigyasa nartho yaschya karmavi. He says that, see, it's not that we don't have to have good homes or better living, comfortable living. You should have. You can acquire everything whatever you require. But it should not become the disease for your mind. Disease, disease means what? Sometimes we get so much attached that for the sake of living, we forget living. We are so busy with so many things that we actually, even materially also, we forget to live life happily. At material level also, what to speak of the spiritual level. Our devotee, one more devotee here, Panchapandav, we used to go for bus parties to distribute the books. Bus used to go to the corporate offices in different factories here in India, Maharashtra. So he used to say that in this world, the deadliest disease is not cancer, is not diabetes, is not AIDS, is not even corona. What is deadliest disease? It is the mental, depression, or the disease of the mind, basically. The disease which we have acquired, from morning till evening, we are just concerned about ahar, nidra, bhay, and maithun. How can I acquire food? How can I, protect my shelter? How can I, have this and that? So this anxiety is there, of course. We have to take care of that, but in such a way that we, don't get dragged away so much to the material life. We have a time for the spirituality also. Otherwise, Bhagavad Gita also says, Bhoga Ishvara Prasaktanam Taya Aparata Chetasam Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Samadhavana Vidiyate. That those whose minds are attached to the Bhoga and Aishwarya. Bhog means basically the objects which give us enjoyment, and Aishwarya means opulence. If we are attached to these two things, then our mind is kidnapped by these two items. Then our mind is not available for Krishna. Our consciousness is not available for Krishna. So it should not get. And aparata means basically kidnapped. So all of our mind is getting kidnapped by so many material objects, paraphernalia. Now you may say, so how to come out from this? So to come out of this, there is a process, and the process is devotional service, taking shelter of the devotees, and making submitting ourselves to the devotees and becoming humble. Otherwise, you see, the more we engage in sense gratification, we also don't realize how much time is passing so fast. In the third canto, Kapil Dev says to Devhuti Mata that kalasya cha avyakta gater yo antardhavate jantushu. That eternal time is chasing the living entities. But we don't realize why, because this is so imperceptible. There is no perception only that how we are moment by moment growing old. Moment by moment, our capacity to enjoy is going away. And a day will come when everything will be taken away completely. So therefore, in this bhajan song, the poet, he says that इस जगत सराहे में मुसाफिर रहना 2 दिन का क्यों वृथा करे गुमान मूर्ख इस धन और जौबन का. He says that this is Jagat Sara. Sara means basically dharmashala, or you may take your home also. This is just for 2 days actually. Why it is at 2 days? You may say, I am living here for last 30-40 years, or I am going to live for 100 years. But this 100 years is like nothing. It's just goes away like that. Fast flowing of the wind. If you look back, now I am 35 years old. If I look back, I am surprised most of the time that how fast these 35 years have gone. I don't understand, only realize. And our time is going like that. And if we don't engage in the devotional service, we are actually wasting the precious, valuable human form of life. So they say that you are coming here for 2 days, then why to be proud of so many things? These temporary things which we have acquired, this dhan and jovan means this wealth and the beauty and the youth. This youth is only for few days. 24, 25, 26, 30, 40, that's it. Then, all the parts of the body, they start giving you their prescription for oiling and this and that. Now you enjoyed enough. Now give us treatment, give us rest. So they say that why to be proud of so many things? And in this particular stanza, they use the one word musafir. Musafir means basically a traveler. In the Bhagavad Gita 18th chapter, Krishna says 61st verse, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshe arjuna tishtati bhamayan sarva bhutani yantra rudani mayaya. He said that all of us are actually traveling. We are travelers. But actually here Krishna is using the word bhamayan means wandering. There is a difference between wandering and traveling. Wandering means actually wandering means without purpose. And traveling means with some purpose. So all of us are traveling without any purpose, actually speaking. No aim, no goal. What do I want? Where do I have to go? What will benefit me? We don't know actually. And we are just wandering here and there. Just by the instinct of the body and mind. The body is saying, give me this food. The mind is saying, give me that object, give me that enjoyment. And just we are moving here and there. As per the instinct, like animal. They also move around with the instinct of the body and mind. So similarly, we are traveling, and one place, Tarun Gauranga was giving comment on this verse. He was saying that actually the living entity, he is a victim of his circumstances. We all are born in particular circumstance, and these circumstances they inject particular kind of desires within us, and based on the desires we want to enjoy. Say for example, I don't know how you relate this example, but suppose there is a Punjabi person from India. He likes the paratha. And South Indian person from India, South Indian, he likes dosa. And person who is from Maharashtra, Mumbai, not Mumbai but Maharashtra, he likes bhakri. These are different types of breads actually. And the Western person, he likes bread or pizza. These are different people. It's the same item. It is either made of wheat or rice, mostly wheat or rice. Same item, but different forms and shapes and different structure. Based on his circumstances, based on his upbringing, and based on the place he's born, he thinks this item is very good. The Punjabi thinks paratha is very good, and the South Indian thinks paratha is not so good. Dosa is very good, and the Western is thinking bread is very nice or pizza is very nice. And those who are living in the cosmopolitan city, where cosmopolitan is just like Bombay. Cosmopolitan means mixed culture. There people like everything. They like pizza, they like chapati, they like bhakri, they like everything. Basically identity crisis. Like that, the living entity, in the previous time, maybe 50, 70 years back, there was not much propaganda of the social media or this television, newspapers and this and that. So we used to get exposed to some limited objects of sense gratification. But because of this Kali Yuga moving forward, and the culture around us, we are getting exposed to so many sense objects that we are confused actually. Who am I? Even material life we are forgetting. Whether I am Indian or whether I am Western, whether I am Chinese, because the culture has become so mixed up and so many sense objects, they are one after other, exposed to us through social media and this and that. Like that, the living entity who is wandering in this world, is this confusion about what actually he wants has increased a lot, and is going to increase a lot. As the Radharani Maharaj says, mass weapons of distraction. Previously there were few distractions, now distractions have increased a lot thanks to the modern advancement of the Kali Yuga. And then in the same shloka, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Brahmayan yantra rudani maya. Yantra rudani means basically we are traveling on this yantra. This body is nothing but a yantra. Yantra means a machine, just like any other machine operates. Similarly, this body is also like a machine. And then he gives one beautiful example that there was one experiment conducted by some neurosurgeons. That one patient, he was told to lie down on the bed, and then they applied some probes and sensor on his brain, and they knew which part is responsible for lifting the hand. And then through the probes and sensors, they press the button responsible, press a particular part of the brain, responsible activated rather, responsible for lifting of the hand. So they activated the part, they pressed the button, and then this patient's hand went up. And then they asked the patient, so did you lift your hand? He said no. Then they again raised the button, basically switch off and switch on. Then this hand came down. Then they asked him further, did you, lift, put your hand down? He said no. This was first experiment, and in the second experiment they asked patient, now you lift. Now that time they don't apply this probe and sensor. They asked the patient that you lift your hand now, and then he lifted the hand. Then they asked, who is lifting your hand? He said, I am lifting my hand. And then they said, okay, put it down. Then they again asked, who is putting down your hand? The patient said, I am putting it down. Now, after the second experiment, they concluded that in the first case, the area of the brain responsible for lifting the hand and putting it down was a particular section of the brain which the scientists they were pressing outside through these probes and sensor switching on. But in the second case, who was doing that? Simply the person is desiring, I want to lift my hand and I want to put it down. And who is the person or who is the programmer who is switching on and off that button? Then concluding the experiment, they said that actually we say that this body is operated by this brain. Basically the person, they say like that. They don't know about the soul and Paramatma and everything. Then they concluded that this body, this brain is like a computer. But the programmer who is programming and operating this is not inside this body, but is actually outside the body. They call it, extra cerebral or whatever they say. So like that, even if we see, by proper examination, we can see that this our life, this body is actually managed, controlled by someone else. Now we have to find out who is that person, who is responsible for that. Therefore, if we go to the Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, Krishna gives 4 series of verses which mention that everything that you need, everything that you like, everything that you want is provided by me. Krishna says in the 15.12 verse, he says that Idaditya gatam tejo jagat bhasayate khilam yat chandramasi yat chagno tat tejo vidhi mamakam. He says in this universe, the sun, moon and fire, these 3 things are arranged by me. And these 3 things are required for our sustenance. Without sun, without moon, without fire, we can't do anything else. Practically everything that we see here, whether the electricity or our petrol, diesel, whatever fuels we have, everything is transformation of sunlight, nothing else. So this is universal arrangement Krishna has made for us. Then he says, Gama Vishya Bhutani Dharayamya Ojasa Pushnami Chaushadi Sarva Somo Bhutva Rasatmaka. He says that the every planet I enter into that, and because of me they are floating in the universe and they are maintained at proper orbit. Suppose sun is little close to the earth, then we all will get burned because of the heat of the sun. If the sun is little too far, we will not get sufficient heat required for our necessities. So this is perfect arrangement by Krishna, that he has entered each and every planet and is holding them in a proper position, just like somebody holds the dust in hand, and every particle is properly tightly held in the fist of the person. As soon as he releases it, it will scatter everywhere. So similarly, Krishna says, I am holding everything. And whatever he says that Pushnami Chaushadi Sarva, Somo Bhutva Rasatmaka, whatever taste you have in the vegetables that you eat, that taste is provided by the moonlight. The moon enters into that and gives taste to the vegetables. So this is arrangement at the universal level, then at the earth level. Then he says, in English, this saying is there, bird search for the grain, but God provides the rain. Actually, we may say that bird is searching the grain, that's why he is getting the grain. But without God giving rain, there will be no grain. There will be no fruit for the bird to find. And that's why Krishna's arrangement is primary and our search is secondary. The way we say, I am working hard, I am getting this and that. But actually we are just what doing is whatever provided by Krishna, we are just manipulating that and utilizing for our purpose. So this is Krishna talks about the arrangement at the earth level. Then Krishna says, even after you get everything, you got home, you got sunlight, you got food, and you eat the food. Even after eating food, that digestion of the food is done by me only. He says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Ashrita Prana Prana Samayukta Pachami Annam Chaturvidam. We don't have capacity even to digest the food which we eat. Then what is our significance? I mean, we are proud of so many things, but actually our contribution in Krishna's this arrangement is nothing. I mean, whatever Krishna is arranging is the absolute, and whatever we can do is just cooperate. I mean, even if we just keep our body proper by following, Bhagavad Gita says that you eat whatever you need, you don't eat more than required. Just like that Prabhupada, just I quoted that verse, Kamasan Indriya Priti. Whatever required, you take it. Don't take beyond that, otherwise you will get diseased, either for the mind or the body. More than required, if we give to the mind also, it becomes disease, or less. So we have to give in balance. So Krishna said, at cosmological level, in the 15.12 verse, then it said that 15.13 at the terrestrial level. Then Krishna says, even at the physiological arrangement, your body also controlled by me, and I only help you to digest the food. And even at the level of soul, Krishna says, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto Matta Smrti Jnanam Apahanam Cha. That even to remember something or to forget something, I only give that capacity. Even if you want to forget, I only will help you. You may ask this to those who have this insomnia, what they say, that people find difficult to get sleep in the night. Now you want to get the sleep, but you can't get, because this is not in your hands. This is based on your karma. We either get good sleep or not. So therefore these things are so meticulously arranged by Krishna, and our existence is so much dependent on Krishna. Now one may say, sometimes suppose some student goes to the college for exam, and he fails in the exam, and then he says, actually Krishna did not give me remembrance, so I failed. It's not like that. Actually it is said that Krishna is responsive to our desires, and we are responsible. Actually we are responsible, at the same time we are responsible, means we are able to give the response. If we respond, suppose Krishna is coming and he wants to give you good guidance, and if you respond to Krishna, then Krishna will give that remembrance of him. If you want to love Krishna, he will give his remembrance. If you want to forget him, he will give forgetfulness. So like that, this particular stanza in that poem, it is saying that everything actually we see is given by Krishna. He is only managing, he is only doing everything for us. Then why to become so much proud of so many things? In one purport, that small book is there, Matchless Gift. And there Prabhupada writes that we may say that actually I am working in this world. Suppose we want to build a house. To build a house, you require construction material, bricks, stone. You may say, I have built this house. This is my home. Prabhupada says, no, actually all the material you have taken from nature only. Okay, then you may say, okay, it is taken from nature, but actually my labor is involved in that. So Krishna says, no, this labor, Prabhupada says, this labor is also not your labor. This labor is actually Krishna's. You may say, how do you say? I work with my hands. I labored for that. Then Prabhupada says, actually these hands are also not your hands. How? And when we will understand that, Prabhupada says that these hands are not your hands, these are God's hand. For when the capacity to work with these hands is taken away by Krishna, that time we will realize. And actually we will realize at the end of the our life, we will realize that actually it was Krishna only. If it was Krishna, it was ours, it was mine, then why it is not coming in my service? It is been taken away now. Therefore we should realize that everything actually is given by Krishna and become humble. Otherwise, if we are not, see, I am connecting these points to the purport in a way that purport says that we are suffering, and Prabhupada says that we have to take shelter of the Guru and Krishna. But we can take shelter of Guru and Krishna only when we become humble, only when we take in a position that yes, actually nothing belongs to me. It's everything given by God and Guru. Therefore, Kunti Brahmani also says that Janma Eshwara Shrutashir Edha Mada Puman, Naiva Harti Vedatum, Tai Am Kinchana Gocharam. That these four things, high birth, high opulence, education, and beauty. If one is proud of these possessions, we may have these possessions, no problem. But to become proud of this is a great obstacle in our journey towards Krishna. Because then what happens? If we are intoxicated by these things, we cannot we cannot call Krishna with helplessness. If we are proud of these things, and just like I said earlier, without wholehearted calling to Krishna, there will be no much purification. We may chant 100 rounds, 200 rounds, we may have so much service, but if it's not done with a humble attitude that actually it is Krishna is giving me opportunity to serve him, there will be not much purification. We will not be connected to Krishna. Then we are just connected to our ego, our mind and body. See, this is my capacity, this much I am doing, I am this and that. So there will be no purification. That's why I'll just conclude with one pastime from 9th canto of the Bhagavatam. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, how much time we have? We have 10 more minutes.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you. I hope you all are connected. I mean, because nobody is seen here. But anyway. So this 9th canto, it gives the pastime of Soma, the moon god. Moon god, he performed Rajasuya sacrifice. Rajasuya sacrifice means a particular kind of yajna where you have to conquer all the world, entire world. After conquering that, you are given this opportunity to perform Rajasuya sacrifice. And Soma, he performed this Rajasuya sacrifice. After performing sacrifice, he became so much intoxicated with pride and ego that see, I am the great conqueror of the entire world. And as soon as you think that I am the best, I am the topmost in this world, immediately you want to have all those enjoyable objects under you, which others are enjoying. Then you think that, okay, this person has this, so and so particular object. This is great. I should have. Basically, these four things: Janma, Aishwarya, Shrita, Shiv. It's good opulence, beauty, everything. So what he does is he kidnaps forcibly the wife of his own spiritual master, Brahaspati. Can you imagine? I mean, if somebody is proud, then he thinks that I deserve. This is my. This doesn't belong to him. This is the nature of pride. And in the same section I was hearing Radhanath Maharaj lecture, he says that because of this pride, he thinks that he deserves and then he demands. And then he actually kidnaps the wife of Brahaspati. And then Brahaspati says that why you are doing this? Return, my wife. But then he says, no, I can't return. She belongs to me. She is such a beautiful lady and I am the most opulent person. So she should, be with me. Then see this small, activity done by Soma, it turns into big war. You see the 9th canto? Then demigods, they declare war against Soma. And Shukracharya, who is the guru of demons, he, comes to support Soma. And then because of the small, incidents, not, controlling properly, a big war is raised between demons and demigods. For what sake? For the sake of that one, lady. But of course, it's not just lady, but ego of, that one person. And there is a big battle between them. And whose loss? The loss of demigods only. Because demigod is fighting actually with the demigods only. In that lecture, Maharaj says, beautiful lesson Maharaj gives. Maharaj says that from pride, envy is born. Actually, he says, whenever there is pride, we become envious of other person. And because of the envy, birth of envy, we lose our humility. And because of that, all the problems start coming up. Actually, all the anarthas which we have, lust, greed, anger, envy, illusion, madness, pride is the primary source. From pride only we think, I know I deserve this, I want this, I should get this, I'm so and so. And from that, lust, greed, anger, gradually they start taking, they follow that sequence. And then Maharaj says that, when somebody is proud, he thinks that you don't think that you deserve anything. Whenever we are humble, actually we don't think that we deserve anything. You think everyone is better than you. And when you are proud, we think, why that person has that thing, why not me? This person is getting respect, wealth, why not me? And we can't tolerate somebody getting, all these things. And because of that, there is a, basically communities, Maharaj says, further, that how then communities start collapsing. See, what happens is, this problem, Maharaj says that this problem is with, a street, thief also. I mean, those who are materialistic people, they also fight for the same thing. Post, position, power. And the same thing can happen with the devotee communities also if we are not careful. Maharaj says that, if we maintain mental attachment and if we don't try to purify, it will create fighting, quarrel, and envy among devotees. And that's how, over the decades and centuries, many spiritual movements they have collapsed. You see in the Gaudiya Math also. Gaudiya Math, actually Bhakti Sansara time, I actually sometimes wonder, Bhakti Sansara time they used to chant 64 rounds. Can you imagine 64 rounds chanting? Now it's a sometime we chant on Ekadashi or some, Haridas Thakur Acharya disappearance day. We feel, wow, 64 rounds are chanted. Those times, those who were staying in the mathas, they used to chant 64 rounds. And these people only they fought later after the disappearance of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Why? Because somebody thinks that I am, so great. He becomes proud. He thinks that I deserve this, and then that's how a quarrel in the community starts. Therefore, Prabhupada Maharaj was saying that actually Maya's attack from inside and outside. These are two ways Maya attack: from inside and from outside. So actually, outside attack will always become, even more stronger because we are, somebody, some other person or some other faith. Just like, some things are happening now in Bangladesh and other places. So somebody is attacking from outside, we become united. We fight that. We become even more stronger. But the problem comes when Maya attacks from inside. And how she attacks from inside? Maya is so subtlest. Maharaj says she's so subtle, so subtle, that even after one becomes devotee, even after he has, spent decades in the movement, but still, if we do not take care to remove our pride, which will naturally come in course of our journey, because as the time goes, as we move ahead, we become senior, we get the facilities, we become preachers, we become, so many upadhis, we become bhakti shastri, we become, teachers, preachers, whatever. Along with that, if we do not take care, curb this, Maya's attack from inside, the small pride and out of that envy coming, then actually what happens, Maharaj says that, beautiful lines I'll just read out. Maharaj says that when she drops seed of jealousy that creates a sense of pride and competition on worldly level for land, control, influence, money, support, we start spreading lying propaganda against each other. And ultimately it becomes a fight, war, struggle of power. And in order to deal with this struggle of power, there has to be so much diplomacy, politics. Nobody knows what's true and what's not true. Then there becomes the polarization. You have to be either on this side or other side. You can't be in the middle. Then there is a total breakdown in love and trust. And Maharaj says beautiful line. This, you hear this properly, this punch line. Maharaj says that the mission is crippled because it's love and trust among devotees that attracts the empowerment of the Lord. It attracts the potency of the Lord. If there is no love and trust among the devotees, there is no empowerment by the Lord. And that's how movements they collapse. So we have to be extremely cautious wherever we see such a lying propaganda, criticism of devotees of envy, out of envy. And we may think, because I don't have something that others have, such thought if comes, then we have to immediately stamp it out. You know why? Because Krishna is actually, Bhagavad Gita says, Srihidam Sarva Bhutanam. Krishna is Srihid in everyone's heart. And if he want, he can give whatever we need. I mean, for Prabhupada, he was in India for almost 40 years. Prabhupada struggled. He, started the League of Devotees, did not succeed. There was some political, drama happened. Then he went to the West. He came to the New York. But there also, not that he went and some elite classes of people coming and welcoming him. No, that also failed. Then he started through hippies. See, matlab, Prabhupada, started movement with whom? I mean, we can never imagine that we can start a temple with some beggars and street people. I mean, but Prabhupada, Krishna arranged for him to start the movement through these people. Now, of course, they were all glorious souls. So what I mean to say is, if we sometimes feel that I deserve this and I didn't get, I'm not getting this and I have to fight for that. I mean, you may ask, you may request, sometimes fight also religiously, not irreligiously, but then we should not demand unnecessarily. If it is really for your benefit, Krishna will definitely give you. If it is really meant for his service, Krishna will arrange it 100%. We should have this much faith. And then actually Maharaj says that then what is the solution for this? To remove this pride and envy. So of course Maharaj says that we should have to have good sadhana. Daily we chant our 16 rounds. You have such a nice association. You chant your rounds. Then we have a Bhagavatam class. But Maharaj says, apart from this, I mean, this can also lead to pride. Sometimes people on regular basis, if they consistently perform their devotional service, there is another pride in that. See, I am such a great devotee. For last 10 months or so, whatever, ever since this group has started, every day I am there in this group. Every day my attendance is there. Every day I am chanting 16 rounds. Every day I am attending Bhagavatam class. This is another pride. So therefore Maharaj says that, of course, without sadhana, I mean, we will be, completely, attacked by Maya, like anything. But even with good sadhana, we will not be able to, remove the pride, because pride will come with so many things. Therefore, Maharaj says, along with, good sadhana, we have to have Vaishnava Seva. Because when we serve devotees, serving devotees means what? Serving devotees means we, recognize that devotees, they deserve this. I don't deserve. They deserve, all the facilities. They deserve all the respect. They deserve everything. So I need to serve them. So Maharaj therefore gives this, beautiful formula that if we serve the devotees, serve the Vaishnavas and become, and actually to serve devotees, we have to become humble. We have to keep aside our ego. Otherwise, doing good sadhana also, it can, give us a lot of pride in our heart, and that can completely, remove the purpose for which we are doing sadhana. We are doing sadhana to become humble and to get mercy of Krishna. But then, sometimes devotees, they dress Krishna nicely, they sing nicely, they give lectures nicely, they do so many things. Krishna empowers them. But if we do not take care to humble ourselves and not, understand that Krishna is giving me so much, but if I don't take care, that the same empowerment, same blessings can actually run into curse also. Therefore, we have to be humble and genuinely serve the devotees. And when we serve, then only we can expect. Maharaj says that if we are not strict in our sadhana, Maya will destroy us. But at the same time, just strict sadhana is not enough. Maya is so subtle, she will steal our mind and make us proud. Therefore, we have to be very strict in sadhana. At the same time, we have to cultivate more than anything else, humble service to the Vaishnavas. It's where we accept humble service to Vaishnavas, give all credits to them, accept none in return. It's austerity. But then we have to do it. Then we will become protected. And then Maya will be helpless. So being servant of, therefore see, this is the formula Mahaprabhu has given us. Being servant of servant of servant of servant. Why Mahaprabhu said like that? Now we may say 3 times Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam. But to chant that Hare Nam, we need to have this being attitude of being servant of servant of servant. Then only we can chant. Therefore Mahaprabhu says, Tranadapi Samechanam. Unless you become like a Trina, you can't chant. Whatever you are chanting without becoming Trun, is actually nothing but a manifestation of our ego only. Of course, that chanting is better than not chanting. But still, if we have to progress ahead, like Uddhava, he went to the Vrindavan and he understood what is the summit and glory of Krishna's devotion. These cowherd girls, they are so simple ladies. He says, in fact, in that same chapter, that these cowherd ladies are not educated and not, sophisticated in their behavior, but because of their simplicity, they conquered the Krishna. So therefore, Krishna likes simplicity. And as the purport goes, Prabhupada says that if we have to come out of this suffering condition, we have to take shelter of Krishna and Guru. and Vaishnavas, and that can happen and possible only when we, remain humble and surrender ourselves to the lotus feet of the devotees. Then only, otherwise, Maya is very difficult to deal with. Even after doing good devotional service, we can be, victim of Maya's propaganda, like that. So I'll stop here and seek your blessings so that I can follow whatever I'm studying, hearing, through these great souls, and beg for any, forgiveness if I have spoken anything beyond my realizations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam again. Very beautiful class, Prabhu. When a purport is short, it's difficult to give class. When a purport is too long, it's difficult. But you certainly mix the things to such a beautiful point to bring back everything to Krishna and to bring our consciousness back, what we are doing here and what we are supposed to do. Thank you, Prabhu. I loved the example of dealing with this forest fire by just a few buckets of water, and that's what we actually have done in past for sure. Now hopefully we are not hopefully, we are sure we're on the right road, that's for sure. But hopefully mercy of Vaishnava and Guru will just guide us more and more on this path. You beautifully, Prabhu, beautifully explained the narrations of narrated Uddhava's story and Gopis and the Radha Rani. What a beautiful story, Prabhu. Thank you for bringing us to Canto 10th in the beautiful pastimes. And you were talking of paranthas, dosas, and pizzas, Prabhu. This is 5 a.m. here. Little temptations, Mahaprasade Govinde was going in my heart. Still a conditioned soul, Prabhu. And certainly you talked about potencies of Krishna. Amazing, Prabhu. Yeah, without him, not a single leaf can move. What to talk about other things. Thank you, Prabhu. In this month of Kartik, the sale is going on, and certainly we are in this Prabhupada market with a credit card is Prabhupada itself is mercy. And of course, it's called MasterCard. So we have a master who is helping us. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you. Beautiful class. Dear devotees, if anybody has any questions or realizations, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Such a beautiful class. I'm so grateful for your association this morning. I really, really love the point about that if we don't understand the purpose of being in the material world, that we're completely lost and that it's for experimentation and rectification. That was so powerful. I'm so grateful for that. And I will also take your instructions about pride. I will take them to heart. They were such wonderful things that you shared with us, that we need to not only have a good sadhana, but also serve the Vaishnavas, from our hearts. So I'm so grateful for that. And thank you again for such a wonderful class. And I'm glad that you came back and gave another class. I enjoyed your first class that you gave for us before. So thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your service. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So I take a leave all of you. Thank you so much for your kind association. Hope to see you again. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpataruvasya kripa sindhuvayo
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Tarun Gauranga Prabhu ki jai.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Hare
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for the beautiful class and your time, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat. Radhe
Thank you,
Radhe.
Shama Gauri, for inviting him back.
Oh, thank you, Mataji.
Yes, that was beautiful.
Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
So thank you very much, all the devotees, for joining us for Kartik Vrindavan Yatra. So we just now finished the Bhagavatam class in the temple, and we finished breakfast, and let's go for the Yatra. And
Mataji, where is the breakfast, Mataji?
We are already done, Mataji. We are ready to get on the bus with Padmasakhi Mataji. So let's do the bus.
Yes, nice. Nice
Breakfast is in the kitchen.
Nice breakfast. I still remember that breakfast. Very, very tasty. Okay. So welcome to our day 3, Vrajamandal Parikrama. Very grateful to all of you. So we'll do a small prayer. We'll take the blessings of Srimati Radharani, Sri Krishna, Srimati Vrinde Devi, Srila Prabhupada, all the Guru Parampara, and I forgot Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, and all the assembled Vaishnavas, so that we'll be able to do our day 3 Parikrama. Very, very beautiful Mathura Parikrama, with a very nice and humble and very beautiful place. Mathura, about glories of Mathura, there is even a book. We can, like, it's a one big study. We can do a 30-day lectures on Mathura, glories of Mathura. So this is the map that we are doing today. Like, see, yesterday we were here, right? We saw Potrakund, Krishna Janmasthan, and now we'll be going on the way. We have Mahavidya Devi Mandir, and then Gokarneshwar Mahadev. Then we'll come to Chakratirth, Vishram Ghat, Dhruva Ghat, Saptarishi Tirtha, then Kubja Mandir, Rangeshwar Mahadev, and Bhuteshwar Mahadev. So this will be our path. Gaur Govind Gaudiya Mata. So we'll end it here, like here. And if you see, there is Yamuna flowing, right? So the shape of Mathura is said to be in the shape of a half moon. And so if it is half moon, and on the border is all the Yamuna flowing, and on this, at these borders there are 25 ghats. So Mathura has 25 ghats, lot of beautiful ghats, but we will be seeing only a couple of them today. And see, you can see here Yamuna is flowing. So we'll start. Yes. So I just put Saptapuri because Mathura is also one of the Saptapuri. It's called Mokshapuri also. All these, I heard somewhere that Mathura is the second one. So Ayodhya is the first. Here also you can see this is the shloka. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri, Dwaravati Chayeva, Saptahite Moksha Dayaka. So it will give moksha. So very, very potent place, Mathura. So all these are 7: Mathura, Haridwar, Ayodhya, Kashi, Ujjain, Kanchipuram, and Dwaraka. I have been only to Mathura. I have not seen the other places. So we will start. So the first place is Gokarneshwar Mahadev, and as we all know, who is the Kshetra Palak is Shiva, and he is not only Kshetra Palak of Vrindavan, he is a Dik Palak of Mathura. So 4 sides of Mathura is there. On the south, he is there as Rangeshwar Mahadev, on the north as Gokarneshwar Mahadev, and west as Bhuteshwar Mahadev, and east as Pipaleshwar Mahadev. We will see all of them as we walk, as we go. As Mataji said, nice misty mornings. We are just walking in the streets. Just imagine, with nice kirtan everywhere. Everybody devotees with bead bags. That misty air is touching us. And because this month in Vrindavan is little cold. Then, so Gokarna Tirtha is Gokarneshwar Mahadev. So why Gokarneshwar Mahadev is there? Because in the temple, this is the deity, Gokarna Rishi. Gokarna Rishi's deity is there. And Gokarneshwar Mahadev we call because we know Shiva loves his devotees. Gokarna Rishi is a nice, like is a great devotee of the Lord. There is a Gita also, like Gokarna Gita, that he tells to his father about how this body is just made of bones, blood. So there's Gokarna Gita. I think there are two shlokas. He gives as an offering. He writes it and tells to his father Atmadev. So Gokarna Rishi is there because he's the greatest devotee, and Shiva is always loving devotees. So he's there here as Gokarna Eshwar Mahadev. So this is the deity. Now we'll see the story of, and this is the entrance. Before you go, this is the path you go, and this is the deity you see. And yes, so Mahadev is there. What happened was, one time there is a Brahmin couple by named Atmadev and Dunduli. So what happened? They don't have children, and this Atmadev wanted kids, and then one sage comes and gives him a fruit. He will say, go and feed this to your wife, then she'll become pregnant with a nice devotee child. And he will go give it to his wife. there are two versions I heard. One version, they say that it is from another Parikrama book. They say that there is a hungry cow came and ate it. But I heard it from lectures.
Can I tell the story?
Yes.
Yeah, so Atmadev Brahmans did not have any children, so he went to some sadhu, and sadhu gave the fruit, like Mataji said, and the wife was not so devoted to the god, so that's why she didn't want to become a pregnant and give the birth to children and like that. But what she did, she fed the fruit to the cow, and she went to her sister. Sister was pregnant and she was not so rich, and she couldn't afford children. So she said, I will give my baby to you. So she husband, like Atmadev Brahman, was so much into devotion, he didn't know that the wife is pregnant or not, and she is pretending that she is pregnant. And finally, when the sister got the baby, she got the baby and she said, oh, look at our son. So her name was Dundubi, so son's name got Dundugali. And the cow who ate the fruit, she gave the birth to a baby which is human-like, but the ears were like cow's ears, and that's why he is called Gokarna. And that boy was such a nice, wonderful devotee. He was always doing Krishna Katha and Bhagavatam, and later on he went to pilgrimage, and Atmadev Brahman also left the body, and this Dundukari became very sinful, and because of doing so much sin, one day he died, and his soul was in that their house itself, because cow was the outside and the lady was inside. So the Dundukari was growing inside and cow's baby was growing outside. So he was so much into devotional service and he went to pilgrimage. But later on he came to know that her brother has died. So he came back to the house and he saw that his soul was roaming in the house and he is not getting liberation. So to give him the liberation, there itself this Gokarna starts the Bhagavatam Katha. And within 7 days, that soul without body, he hears the Bhagavad Katha and he gets the liberation. So this is how the Katha is.
Yeah, and in fact, his mother also, because he's become so bad, one day he will, drink, he will be like fully intoxicated and he will be, troubling his mom. And mom was in deep pain that she was running to escape from him, because how when they're intoxicated, they don't even realize who the other person is. And then he will be behind her and she wants to escape, because he was like wanting to beat her or trouble her. Then she was running and she falls in a well and she dies. The mother died like that, and father was so upset with the behavior of Dindukari that then this Gokarna will say, you don't worry about him, just go on a pilgrimage. So father goes on a pilgrimage, and when Dundukari dies, Dundukari didn't get anybody because his karma was so bad, nothing was suiting. Nobody, so he was dying as a ghost, and all the villagers get very worried. What can we do? And then they will tell to Atmadev, and Atmadev arranges that Bhagavad Sapta for 7 days.
Gokarna does that.
Yes, and then the others will ask, okay, sir, from 7 days he is hearing, and the Vishnu Dutas came. What about us? Then they will say, you will also definitely go back, but because you still have your duties to be done, you still have some more duties remaining in this planet. You're still there, so you will come back later. They will tell, and just take that Dundukaris.
Also, the devotees, they hear with some other intention, but Dundukari was hearing the intention that he has to get the liberation, and so much, he was hearing in that consciousness. But sometimes we want something else from God, and that's why we don't get the same benefit that he was getting.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. So that is about Gokarna Tirtha, Gokarneshwar Mahadev. And then as going, there is this Mahavidya Mandir, we will see. So if we know this, we will not see the pastime, but the pastime where this snake, python, when Nanda Maharaj and his family to celebrate Shivaratri, they come to Ambika Van to offer some puja to Durga. And then the snake, who is a Vidyadhara, he just attacks Nanda Maharaj, and by Krishna's touch, he will just reveal his identity. So this happens. This is actually the place where Mahavidya Mandir is there. It is said that is Ambika Van. And even when Nanda Maharaj used to come for the pilgrimage, he would see Gokarneshwar Mahadev and then come to Mahavidya Mandir, have darshan of Ambika. So this is the inside the temple, and this is the darshan of Ambika. So this is that place, Ambika One. And now as we go forward, we have Chakra Tirtha and Ambarish Tila. So we know the pastime of Ambarish, where Ambarish Maharaj, Durvas Muni gets offended, and from his hair he will create a demoniac personality, and then Vishnu releases his chakra, and the chakra is placed in Durvasa Muni, and finally Vishnu says that you have to take the forgiveness of my devotee. Then he will understand how great Ambarish Maharaj is, and he'll come and ask for forgiveness. Ambarish Maharaj is a great personality that we know, and then he forgives. And actually Chakra Tirtha is the chakra that Vishnu has released to protect Ambarish Maharaj. Is still staying at this Chakra Tirtha. It stayed back to protect Ambarish Maharaj. The chakra was there at this place. It is said the chakra is still there, Vishnu's chakra. So Chakra Tirtha and Ambarish Tila. This is the very spot where all this pastime has happened. Very close to this, we will even see Durvasa's ashram also. That shows us that this pastime, Durvas Muni was there close by, near to this place, Ambarish Tila. Then we'll come to Dwarakadish Mandir. So Krishna left to Dwaraka after staying 18 years in Mathura, and then he left to Dwaraka. So in that remembrance of Krishna, we know Dwarakadish temple is very famous there in Dwaraka, but similar to that, they have built this it's a very beautiful construction. I have a small video of that we will see. So Dwarakadish deity, this is the deity. And as last year, Shamagori Mataji was explaining how overnight Dwaraka was built. Can you say, Mataji, again this time?
Yeah, so, they were fighting with Jarasandha, right? And they went on the, which mountain? Which mountain they went on?
No, it starts with R.
P. Mountain, some mountain. I don't know.
So what he did, he thought they went on the mountain, so he put fire along with all the mountain, and they thought that they both, Krishna and Balaram, they died in the fire. And what Krishna and Balaram they did, they jumped from the mountain, and at the same time Krishna ordered the Samudra Devata that please extinguish this fire. So the Samudra came and he extinguished the fire, and by the time they jump from the mountain, they tell Vishwakarma to build Dwaraka, to place the leaf for them. And in that very moment, Vishwakarma builds the Dwarka, and all the devotees in Mathura, they are sleeping. They don't know. And when they wake up, they see they are in Dwarka. And their houses and their, all the utensils and their kitchen and everything they saw, it's just like same there. Only thing is everything became more opulent. They were having the small utensils, and here they have nice gold and silver utensils. Like that, they change everything. And everybody was so happy because everybody became so opulent in Dwarka.
So there is this beautiful Dwarakadish Mandir, and from there we will go to, I think, Vishram Ghat. So this is the Mandir. Yes. So Vishram Ghat is the place where the Supreme Personality of Godhead also came for Vishram, for resting. So this is, then we can understand how potent this place is, because Lord chose this place to take rest after 2 times. When in Varaha Avatar, when he killed Hiranyaksha, he comes here and he was still holding the Mother Earth. He was still holding on the tusks, and he was sitting here taking rest, and he was talking about the glories of Vrajamandal to Bhumi Mata. So he took rest here that time in Satya Yuga. And when he killed Kamsa also in the Asanur Mushtik Kamsa, then also he came here and he took rest here. So this is the place offering rest to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Skanda Puran explains the celebrated holy place, this Sri Vrishranti, is situated in Mathura. By visiting this place, traveler attain eternal rest. By bathing there and worshipping Lord Achyuta, one attains immortality and is automatically freed from the miseries of the material existence. So it's a very beautiful ghat. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, before visiting Krishna Janmabhoomi, he visited here and he took bath also. We'll see the video of Vishram Ghat also. And the best part here is the temple of Yamuna and Yamaraj, very close by. And we all know Yamuna, Yamaraj, and Shanidev. They are brothers and sisters. But Surya had 2 wives. To Chaya is born Shanidev, and to the other wife, twins were born, Yamuna and Yamaraj. So I think in the month of October, we don't celebrate, but I know there is this Bhai Dooj. What's the festival? Bhai Dooj, I think it's called as Bhai Dooj.
Yes, Mataji, we celebrate Diwali for 5 days. And the last day, like the Amavasya day is the Diwali day, and next day is like Padwa. And after that, the Beej means the second day of the month is like Beej, and we call it's Bhai Beej, means Bhai Dooj. Some people call Bhai Dooj also. So on that day, brother and sister, it's like a celebration with brother and sisters, and they get nice prasadam, and brother actually gives nice gifts to sister, nice sari and like that, and the sister gives the nice especially they give the coconut and all the other auspicious things to brother, and they do the aarti for brothers, like that we celebrate. And some ladies, they, if they don't have brother, they think like moon god is their brother, and they do everything for the moon.
Oh, very nice for
this is so on Bhai Dooj day, especially devotees go there on to see Yamuna and Yamraj, and Yamraj say who if whosoever brother and sister taking bath in this Yamuna river on the Bhai Dooj day, they don't have to see the face of Yamraj.
Yeah, because actually that's what we are about to discuss. One time on the same day, Bhai Dooj day, Yamaraj will come, and Yamuna will invite Yamaraj, and Yamaraj will come, and so obviously brother is coming. If my brother is coming, I'll cook so many things. So when somebody from our family is coming, the Matajis cook a lot. So then Yamuna cooked a lot, and then Yamaraj was so pleased. And Yamaraj asked, just ask what you want. And actually, in fact, Yamuna, it seems she will ask, whoever is there in Yamaloka, please release them. And Yamaraj will say, oh my God, you are now causing a destruction to my position. I cannot do that. I have to listen to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So ask for something else. And she says, on this Bhai Dooj day, whoever brother and sister comes and take bath in Yamuna river, please at least, they should not see you. Then he will say, okay, granted. That's why lakhs of brothers and sisters we see, and this Vishram Ghat, they'll come and take bath on the Bhai Dooj day. I didn't know, I knew this time, so I have to also take my brother next time if possible.
So so in 2019, my husband and his sister, my sister-in-law, they both went there to take bath.
Very nice. Yeah, so that's the only temple with Yamaraj and Yamuna we'll see only here in Mathura. And Dhruvagat, this is the place where after this we will go to Madhuvan. So this is the place where Dhruvagat is a place where Narada Muni comes and instructs Dhruva Maharaj to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He'll say go to Madhuvan and then worship there. So he gets his instruction here. And very close by we'll have the Saptarishi Mandir. So we have a video of this, we'll see that too. So these are the 7 Saptarishis: Kashyapa, Atri, Vasishta, Vishwamitra, Gautama, Jamadagni and Bharadwaj. The interesting part is if you put holes in the, I was looking for that video, I saw somewhere, but again I didn't find, like there was really holes, they dig holes and then ashes were coming. When the rishis do a lot of yagyas, the remnants are there, ash, right? So there was ash coming out. So this is the place where they stayed. And then Pipaleshwar Mahadev. So this was the place where Bali Maharaj chose to sit here and worship to sun god. See, he chose the right place. Sun god's daughter is Yamuna. So on the bank of Yamuna at Pipaleshwar Mahadev's temple, he started worshipping sun god. Bali Maharaj worshipped Pipaleshwar Mahadev too. So this is the deity. And we are taking actually the path where Krishna and Balaram also took. So this is the path when they came to Mathura, they entered. So on the way, Krishna meets that washerman who insults him, saying that he is a servant of Kamsa and he cannot give the cloth. In fact, it seems Krishna actually asks, I don't know if this is correct, but I have heard that if you can't give new clothes, at least give the clothes that you don't want. I'm not asking you for new clothes. That also he rejects. And then Krishna gets reminded of the last yuga where the washerman started talking about Sita, and we're not going to that pastime, but yeah, he meets washerman here and the washerman gets punished. He's killed. And then later he meets the garland person. He gives nice garlands and then shows his love to Krishna. And then he meets the tailor who, after the washerman is killed, then Krishna picks up all the clothes that they want, and the tailor nicely adjusted. He added new things, nice decorative things, not only to him but even all the cowherd boys, because when Krishna entered, all the Vrajvasis, his friends, were also there. So he dressed and decorated all of them, and he took the mercy of serving the Lord. And then we'll go to Kubja Mandir. So we have a deity of Krishna and Kubja also in the Kubja Mandir. So we know the pastime Kubja. In the last yuga, she was Shurpanaka. She wanted to marry Rama, and that was not fulfilled. So 10,000 years she went underground, underwater, and then she did tapasya. Then Shiva comes and says, next life it will happen. So Krishna met on the way washerman, tailor, then the flower garland person. Now he meets Kubja, and Kubja was having not only sandalwood pulp but even different flavors. And then he will say, "Hey, beautiful lady, she's not beautiful because her name is Trivakra. She's bent in 3 places. Hunchback lady, 3 places she has. So she doesn't look good. No, everybody calls her ugly, but Krishna calls her, beautiful lady, can you please give?" And she was not scared of Kamsa. The best part is she didn't think, oh, if I give this is my service to Kamsa, because Kamsa ordered me to bring this sandalwood, but she didn't think of that. And with that devotion, she just gives to Krishna, and Krishna in return, we always know we give little, he gives a lot. With just one touch, he makes her very beautiful. And this is the Kubja's house. Kubja Mandir is still there. When we go in the Yatra, we can see. So this is the place. And then later Krishna goes to Kubja's house with Utta. And then just by his presence, she becomes, all her desires, all her bad desires are gone. And she becomes a pure devotee. So the Kubja Mandir is also there. And then we come to Rangeshwar Mahadev. This deity was worshipped by Kamsa, and this is present in Ranga Bhumi. Ranga means entertainment. So when he did the Dhanur Yagya, he called Krishna, the wrestling, the Dhanur Yagya, he called even the Krishna and Balaram, they all came, right? So it happened in this very place, because this is the place of entertainment. So all those yagyas and the wrestling matches happened here. And Krishna killed Kuvalaipedia also at the gate of this Ranga Bhumi, and Rangeshwar Mahadev is here. And in this regard, the wrestling match was happening, right? So these 5 wrestlers, Chanur, Mushtika, we know, but Sala, Kuta, and Thoshala are also there. These 5 are the sons of Utatya Muni, and they're all Brahmins, but they didn't want to pursue the Brahminical side, and they learned from Bali Maharaj the wrestling. So then their father gets upset. Uttatya Muni curses. He will say that you will be born in Mahishmati on the Bharata Varsha. So they are born in one time, when Kamsa thinks that they have a lot of stamina, and Kamsa fights with them, and he will say, if you lose, you have to work as my servants. So they will lose, and then they'll work as Kamsa's servants. And Kamsa was very confident that these 5 could defeat Krishna, but that didn't happen. So all these wrestling matches happened at Rangabhumi. And as we go, I couldn't find a picture for this Gaudiya Math, but on the way, if you see in the map quickly. See, now we have seen, we started here, Mahavidya Mandir, Kokarneshwar Mahadev, Chakratirth, Vishram Ghat, then Dhruva Ghat, Saptarishi, Kubja Mandir. Now we came to Rangeshwar Mahadev. So here only we have this Keshav Gaudiya Math. So this is the spot that is there. So this was started by Bhakti, what's the name? I forgot. Yeah, Bhakti Pragnana Keshav Goswami Maharaj, Prabhupada's godbrother, and Prabhupada took sannyas Diksha from him in 1959. And there are deities, if you enter, they'll welcome you very nicely. And there are Radha Vinod Bihari deities in this math. So we'll touch that. And then now comes Bhuteshwar Mahadev. Bhuteshwar Mahadev is also one of the Kshetra Palaks. I think we have Chakleshwar Mahadev on Govardhan, then Bhuteshwar Mahadev, then Kameshwar Mahadev. Who's the other one? I forgot. I think Gopeshwar Mahadev. Yes. So Bhuteshwar Mahadev, as we all know, Shiva is very, very merciful. All the ghostly, he even accepts ghosts. So they all worship this Bhuteshwar Mahadev. They actually, I heard like he's very merciful. He looks scary, but very merciful. Yes, I think then we are done. Yes. So with we'll take blessings of Bhuteshwar Mahadev, and we will end our day 3 parikrama. Tomorrow from Mathura, we will be going to Madhuvan, where Narada Muni gave instruction to Dhruva Maharaj to go there. And there's some nice, interesting, beautiful places. We will see that there. And now we'll see videos. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Shri Mathura Puri. Yeah, can we stop?
Yes.